So here's the nice thing about B6 is that we've already learned how to multiply and divide fractions. Just now they've given us mixed numbers, which means nothing has changed except for the format of the number. Which also means that, well, we're adding a step to this, okay? If we have any mixed numbers, we're going to change those into improper fractions so that we can work directly with the fractions, all right? So, multiply and simplify. So I'm going to change this 3 1/2 into an improper fraction. So I got 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1, that's going to be 7 halves. And this is multiplied by 4/5. So I can multiply these directly. 7 times 4 is 28. Divided by 2 times 5 is 10. And these two, since they're both even, we could at least divide them by 2 and see where we're at. So I got 14/5. I can't simplify that any further, so I would leave that as 14/5. So the homework is going to want this as a mixed number. All right, so we will have to divide these. So I've got 14 divided by 5. 5 doesn't go into 1, but it will go into 14 twice. So 2 times 5 is 10. Subtracting, I've got 4 remaining. So since I have a remainder of 4, the final answer actually is going to be 2. I've got my remainder of 4, and this was in fifths, so 4/5. That would be our mixed number right here. So yeah, changing 8 1/6 into an improper fraction. So again, 8, if we looked at that as sixths, then you'd have 48/6. So this is just a different way to look at it, changing the mixed number into an improper fraction. So for the sixths, I've got the 48, and then I've got the 1, which combine to 49/6. Same with the 4. We can change this into 28/7. So yeah, that gives us 30/7. And yeah, that's being multiplied. Well, we could cross simplify those, which may make this a little bit easier, but let's say we didn't notice that. So then I've got 49 times 30. There's the work on that. And then 6 times 7 is 42. But these are at least even, so I should be able to divide both these by 2, which would give me 735 over 21. I skipped the division on that. All right. Then we got these two numbers, so we should check and just make sure there's nothing else we can divide by. I see that 2 plus 1 is 3. Not only that, but 7 plus 3 plus 5 is 15, which means that both of these numbers are divisible by 3. So I can divide the 735 by 3 and the 21 divided by 3, which will give me sevenths in my denominator. 735 divided by 3 is going to be a little bit more sketchy on that. So I ended up with 245 sevenths. And as it turns out, 245 should be divisible by 7 as well. I don't know that off the top of my head. I just know that 49 is divisible by 7. So I'm looking back at the cross simplification on that. So we do need to divide both of these by 7. Well, 7 divided by 7 is 1, but let's look at 245 divided by 7. So there's 3, 21, 35, 5. 35 over 1, which I'm okay writing as 35. If we look at this using the division, though, right, we would have subtracted 35 there and had a remainder of 0. And I did see this on the homework where it showed the final answer as 35 and 0, I guess, sevenths, because there was 0 remaining out of the 7. I apologize in advance for that. That seems kind of weird.
Do you know what problem that was?
Like that. In fact, they didn't even use 7 on that. They used the 1. For me, though, I would just say write 35.
So on the homework, if we get that one wrong,
So I need to change that 2 3/5 into an improper fraction. 2 times 5 is 10, plus the 3 gives me 13/5. And I'm going to make that 4 a 4 over 1. And we can multiply these straight across. 13 is prime, so is 5. And 4 would only split up into 2s. So that means this can be simplified anyways. Which is going to make this pretty simple for us. Now you got 13 times 4. So there's a 12 and then a 40 right there. So yeah, that's a 52 over 5. But again, it wants mixed numbers on this specific assignment. So I've got 52 divided by 5. 5 goes into 5 once. So minus 5. 0, drop the 2. It won't go into 2.
no.
So I got 10. 0 times 5 is 0. So subtracting out of 2 with the remainder of 2. So my final answer, 10 with the remainder of 2. And yes, this is fifths. So that's it. Find the area of that thing. Well, this is a rectangle. So we will find the area. Oh, that didn't turn out very well. Area will be length times the width. And it doesn't matter which is which. Let's say that the 7 1/2 is the length, because it doesn't matter. So I'm going to replace that length with the 7 1/2. Once this works. Seven 1/2, and the width as 8 1/4. All right. Well, we have these, but once again, we want this as improper fractions. So I got 7 times 2, which is 14, plus 1 is 15 halves. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 would be 33 fourths. Yeah. So when I multiply these, yeah, it may take some space here. So let's do 15 times 33. There's 15, 4. 3 times 5, yeah, we're going to get another 45 there. So 495 in my numerator. And then 2 times 4 is 8.
Oh, shit.
But again, the answer is on this specific part does not want the improper fractions. So we do need to change this into a mixed number. So I got 495 divided by 8. 8 doesn't go into 4, but 49, it goes into 6 times. Yeah, 6. 6 times 8 is 48. Subtract, I got a 1 with the 5, 15. That'll go into it once, 8 with the remainder of 7. So my final answer is 61 and 7/8. All right, so well, this is division though, right? So we're gonna have to flip the
Oh, I
fractions.
didn't see that part.
That's okay. All right, so I'm going to change this 3 1/4. I got 3 times 4 is 12 plus the 1. I got 13 fourths. And I'm not going to divide that, right? I'm going to multiply that by the reciprocal of 1/6, which would be 6 over 1.
Damn it. I never got this one too.
Well, I'm gonna actually take 4 and split that up into 2 times 2. Then I'll see if I can cross simplify anything on this. Same with the 6. I'm going to take that 6 out and change that into 2 times 3. So I got one full fraction here now with 13 times 2 times 3 and 2 times 2 times 1, where I can take this 2 and cancel out that 1, which leaves me with 13 times 3, which is 39, and 2 times 1 is 2. Now again, this particular part wants the answers as mixed numbers. So we'll have to do the division up here. 39 divided by 2. Well, 2 goes into 3 once. 1 times 2 is 2. So I'm going to drop the 9, 19. 2 times 2 goes into 19. 9 times, 2 times 9 is 18. So I had 1 remaining.
So it'll be 1/3.
1/2, right?
Yeah, 1/2.
Oh,
So I have the 19 from the top there. And I had 1 remaining out of 2. And that's it. Number 6, same idea on this one.
I got one.
Let's change 2 2/5 into an improper fraction. So 2 times 5 is 10 plus 2. I got 12/5. And again, we're going to change this to multiplication. Well, I apologize.
That's 13.
I can't do that quite yet because this is still a mixed number. So I got 4 times 3, which is 12 plus 1, and 13/3. So now I can change this into multiplication. So I got my 12/5, but I'm going to change this into multiplication by reciprocating this fraction, 3/13. 12 could be split up, but it doesn't look like it's going to split up into anything like 5 and 13 on that. We could look at that, right? 12 splits up into 3 and 4, and 4 splits up into 2 and 2. So none of those are going to cancel with the 5 and the 13, both of which are prime. So this ends up being just 12 times 3, which is 36, divided by 5 times 13, which would be 65. That can be changed into a mixed number because the numerator is smaller than the denominator, so this is a proper fraction. And that's as far as we can take that one. All right, what about number 7? So on this one, again, I need to change that 8 1/2 into an improper fraction.
17 halves.
Very good. And that gives us 17 halves. Now that's 6, I can make 6 over 1, so I can change this right now into multiplication by reciprocating this to 1 over 6.
7/12.
Yeah.
Or 17/12. My bad.
So that's 17/12. 17 times 1 is 17. 2 times 6 is 12. This we can change into a mixed number. So we're going to have to divide these. So I got 17 divided by 12. Well, 12 will go into 17 once, which is 12. Subtracting, we got 5. So we got a 1 with 5 remaining out of the 12. That's all. This one we want to determine if we want multiplication or division, and then we can answer the question. Sometimes that's kind of ambiguous because if we divide by 2, it's the same as multiplying by 1/2. So you kind of get to choose which is which. Now number 8 here, recipe calls for 2 1/2 cups of flour, 3/4 cups of sugar, and 2 eggs. How much of each ingredient you need to make half that recipe? So the flour, we have 2 1/2 cups of flour. But we're going to cut that in half. So you could divide, excuse me, by 2. We'll look at this differently with the sugar, all right? But if I divide this by 2, first I need to change that 2 1/2 to an improper fraction. So that'd be 5 halves. And now if I reciprocate that 2 over 1, then I get 1/2 there as well. So I end up with 5/4 cups of flour, which is, 1 1/4 cups of flour. So this is the flour portion. The sugar is going to cut up a little bit different, right? Which is 3/4 of a cup of sugar. But this one, I can either divide by 2, or I can say, you know what, it's half of 3/4. So 3/4 of a half as well would work. So the order of that doesn't matter. But this may save us a step on this one, because now I can take 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 2 is 8. So it'd be 3/8 cups of sugar. The eggs on this is a little bit easier on that, because you have
Just
2
get one.
eggs. Take that in half, yep. And then we'll just have 1 egg. Hopefully that's a good egg. A building project calls for 1 1/2 foot boards. How many can be cut from a 12-foot long board? So we're going to take the 12-foot long board and cut it up into 1 1/2 foot boards. So on this one, I would say we're going to use division. I got a 12-foot board, and I'm going to divide it into 1 1/2 foot boards. So I need to change this then into the 1 1/2 into an improper fraction, which would be 3/2. So I got 12 divided by 3/2, which does equal 12, but now if I change it to multiplication, I get 2/3. So we can look at that as 12 over 1. And I've got 12 times 2, which is 24. 1 times 3 is 3. And 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I would have 8 1 1/2 foot boards. We'll just say boards. All right, number 10, if you only have 1/2 measuring cup and the recipe calls for 18 1/2 cups of flour, how many 1/2 cups would you need to use? So this one also will require division, because we're going to take that 8 1/2 cups and divide it into 1/2 cups.
18 1/2 cups.
Yep. So I got 18 and 1/2, but I'm going to divide this by 1/2. This will tell us how many half cups we need to use. So I'm going to change 18 1/2 into an improper fraction. 18 times 2 plus 1 should give us 37 halves. And if I change this into multiplication right now, I can reciprocate that fraction to be 2 over 1. This one comes out pretty nice because the 2's cancel out right there. And we're just left with 37. So 37, how many of those would you need to use? 37, just to separate of the half cups. There we go. The tank for a car holds 17 gallons. The gasoline gauge shows the tank is a fourth full. Not that these always tell the truth. But how much gas is still in the tank? Give your answer as a whole number or a mixed fraction reduced to lowest terms. Let's do it. So on this one, the car holds 17 gallons, but it's only a fourth full. So it's a fourth of 17. So that means I'm going to use multiplication. I got a fourth of the 17 gallons, which I will show as 17 over 1. So that I can multiply these. 1 times 17 is 17, and 4 times 1 is 4. But it said it wanted either a whole number or as a mixed number, mixed fraction, which is a mixed number, reduced to lowest terms. All right, so to do this one, we'll take 17 divided by 4, which gives me 4 of those, and I got 16. 1 remaining leaves me with 4, and I had 1 remaining out of 4. And that would be in gallons. There we go. 14 1/4 gallons of gas.